Everybody, hospitality friend Glenn here. Listen, we already know Actable gives you the power to profit, but now they're giving you more actionable insights to drive that profitability. Do me a favor, take a moment and check out hoteldata.com. You're getting set for budget season, right? And this new benchmarking data is going to help compare your hotel's performance for the rest of 2025 and into 2026. Please check out hoteldata.com or the classic actable.com. Have a great day and enjoy the show. Hey, everybody, we got the incredible Bruce Ford with us today of Lodging Econometrics, and we're going to be talking about what is actually happening in that pipeline, but not just talking about the numbers in the pipeline. Yeah, Bruce, but we're going to be evaluating what those numbers really mean. Bruce, thanks so much for being here on this very special episode of No Vacancy.
Well, Glenn, we're close as we get, this time of year,
Yep.
a couple 100 miles away, and it's great to be with you, my friend. Glad your feet are on the ground in New York and, happy to
Yeah, it's funny, but chances are, as you're watching this, my feet will actually be 35,000 feet.
There it is.
I will say though, as we were recording this just prior to posting this interview, uh, I've been home for weeks, Bruce, and it has been so strange being off an airplane for nearly a month. But I'm getting back to it for 4 weeks of travel starting
You
today.
think Delta will give you a cupcake when you get back?
Uh, I will say, stay tuned. You probably saw it last week. I did a great video with US News and World Report, Bruce, on airline frequent flyer program rankings. Our friends fell to number 4.
Of course they did. They keep devaluing everything, Glenn. But you know what? We're too bougie to quit.
We are too bougie to quit. Also, check out that to find out which hotel rewards program was number 1. Bruce Ford, we got that. We got that pipeline report that you guys have been working on as we are broadcasting this today. You are just releasing the numbers to the public. What's going on?
Well, Glenn, the first 6 months of 2025 have been decision-making time for many owners and management companies. We've all faced decisions.
Yeah.
It started with the pandemic. It started many cycles before that. But I think many people felt that with the new administration, they had to, quote, adjust and adapt.
Mhm.
So they've taken the first 6 months to do that. And some of those results have come out a little mixed. If
Yes.
you have if you have talked to me before or you've listened to me before this year, everybody's kind of looking a little bit in different directions. Some people are thinking about what they need to sell to be able to fund other operations or be able to fund other projects they have to do at some hotels.
Mhm.
Um, and a lot of that is coming out, Glenn, those hotels that are 16 to 20 years old. You recall 20 years ago in 2005, we built a lot of hotels.
Yes.
2005, 2006, 2007,
And then that kinda yeah, and then the Great Recession hit, and we still saw those projects in the ground open, but then the pipeline crashed a little bit,
and the
right?
interesting part about that, Glenn, is that was the boom of the upscale
Mhm.
chain scale. Now we're in the boom of the upper mid-scale chain scale. So a
Oh,
little bit different,
yeah.
okay? And as we continue to build out the upper mid-scale chain scales, some of those upscale hotels look kinda dated.
Yeah.
Yeah. And those upscale brands, which were the darlings back
Yeah.
in the, late '90s, early 2000s, are now kinda looked at a little bit differently because they're not as fresh as some of the other brands. Oh,
Yeah, and that's very true, and I guess that is the nature of life, right? We're always looking for the shiny new, object over there.
correct. I've told you many times when I first got into the industry 30 years ago, Glenn,
Mhm.
um, my dad would take me on business travel and we'd go stay at the Courtyard by Marriott. And I said, wow, this is not my hotel. And that it became my hotel. But now it is, we're in a different place, okay, in terms of the replacement of that hotel and the refreshment of that hotel. And they've done like 3 different refreshments at this point. They've had a room refreshment, with a sofa added into the king rooms. They had a bathroom refreshment where they took a lot of tubs out and they put the stand-up showers in. But now we're kind of looking at that lobby refreshment as they've been going through all of the properties, the lobby, the porte cochere, kind of the refreshment of the exterior as they look to continue to grow the brand and continue to maintain the brand. And that's 1,000 property location brand in North America.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of those, okay, that at the upscale level. Um, but now with upper midscale, okay, when we start talking about brands there, we talk about Home 2 Suites.
Right.
They have almost 600 projects in the new construction pipeline, Glenn.
That's crazy. That is a lot of projects.
That is a lot of signings and a
Mhm.
lot of executions and a lot of people that are looking at projects that they say, well, when the conditions get uh, a little bit more
Favorable?
sure, favorable,
Yeah.
conducive to development.
Uh-huh.
We have a lot of things leaning in on development these days, Glenn. Uh, you can start with the cost of money. You can start with the cost of construction. You can start with the cost of materials. Everything is more expensive. Okay. And as a result, people are saying, targeted CapEx, I can do that. New construction, I want to prepare to do that,
Mhm.
but I'm not necessarily ready to execute. But as you know,
Yes.
okay, and as we have seen before in the 7 real estate cycles you and I have been through in life, okay, people get ready to get ready all the time. And we're in that situation today.
So I guess we should take a look at the numbers.
Yes, we should. So
All right.
we're putting out under
Those of you listening along on the audio version, check the show notes. There'll be a link to this PDF in there as well.
yeah.
Bruce, please continue.
Yes. So to the left, total construction pipeline. So this is
Mhm.
adding up everything that's signed, land under control, going forward concern. Okay. And we're going by chain scale here.
Yep.
Okay. With an unbranded line along the bottom. And the unbranded line along the bottom, we do assign a like type chain scale to all of those. And as you would expect, many of the 785 would be upscale and above. Okay.
Mhm.
So then the second column is what has occurred so far this year for gross new construction openings. And the reason that I use the word gross new construction opening is because many of the companies that are talking to you about supply growth are saying, what is the net growth?
Yep.
Okay. And the net growth, albeit somewhat useful for your daily calculations for occupancy and ADR, doesn't tell the whole story about what's happening in the marketplace.
Right.
The whole story about what's happening in the marketplace is the gross change in hotel rooms, but also the renovations and conversions, which we will get to. So the second column reflects what has occurred already this year. The third column is what is going to occur in the second half of this year. And we still have over 137,000 rooms under construction, Glenn.
Wow.
So, what is scheduled to happen in the second half of this year will be a delivery of some of those hotels
Mhm.
into the marketplace. And then in 2026, we have a modest rise, okay, in rooms that are scheduled to open. And that's a modest rise from the last time we reported it. But here on the far right is the brand new 2027 forecast for new hotel and room openings in the United States from Lodging Econometrics.
And these are brand new numbers.
Brand new. We're just putting out the 2027 forecast for the first time. We'll have it for brands, franchise companies, chain scales, markets, anything that you want to calculate about 2027. This is our expectation today. Okay. And some of that expectation has to do with anticipated starts that would happen as a result of rate cuts.
Mhm.
Okay. So I think many people in the industry are expecting that the Federal Reserve will have something to say about rate cuts this year. I think in the marketplace, there's an expectation of maybe two.
Mhm.
Okay. And that would be great. okay, for the industry. And those
Right.
2 rate cuts could be a quarter point, could be a half a point. I don't think we'll see a full point reduction this year, but I think even a couple of quarter point reductions would be great.
Yeah, I mean, that would certainly help spur development and get those pre-planners potentially to get those shovels in the ground because they could get that cash at a more affordable rate, correct?
Yes, they have to be able to get money at a more affordable rate. The CMBS, or the commercial mortgage-backed securities market, is open in the hotel industry, but it's selectively open.
Right.
And it is selectively open for cash flowing hotels. Okay.
Right.
And
Makes sense.
so,
But what about the ones that don't exist yet?
well,
They don't have any cash flow. They got cash enough.
it's a challenge. Perhaps people need to call Greg Friedman at the Peachtree Group because
Oh, that's true. Got a release today about all the money they've placed recently. So
they seem to be one of the active new construction lenders out there, and it's not that they're the only active new construction lender, but again, the money is expensive.
okay, Bruce, I pulled up the chart once again to talk about US nationally. Are there certain sectors of product that are more likely to get built before others at this point? Is it that upper mid scale that you were talking about, or is it your straightforward extended stay type property? How do you see it?
So extended stay plays in 3 chain scales, even 4 chain scales, really.
And just to educate
Upscale.
people, that's because the industry's been around for a while, it's maturing, and now we're seeing different products at different price points for different types of travelers. Please continue.
Right. Extended stay is not a chain scale.
Right. It's a
It's a
type of product,
property type.
like a select service property.
Right. And we even have chain scales within, or tiers within, extended stay.
Yeah.
So the upper tier extended stay are the older mainline brands of, things like Homewood Suites and Residence Inn that have been around since the late 80s, early 90s.
Mhm.
Okay.
Right.
And then we created upper mid-scale, which was things like Candlewood, which has been around for a long time also,
Yep.
Staybridge. Then we have,
Value
also
brand.
Home 2 Suites, and
Yep.
then more of economy or lower tier extended stay, things like Woodspring, Everhome, um, and, also some of the newer ones, the Studio Res,
Yep.
okay, and the Live Smart brands from Hilton. And it's fair to say, Glenn, that the differences in the marketplace of when a brand is launched by Hilton or Marriott or IHG versus when it's launched by a smaller company, okay, the
Yep.
difference is vast.
Yeah, it is. It's because for those that you don't know, it's easier sometimes to get for the same project if it's got a name from one of the big three companies as a flag. You're more likely to get the funding for that than not. Correct, Bruce?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is amount of certainty, because that's what lenders always look at, is certainty, okay? And when we don't have a lot of certainty in the market, that's when they tend to pull back, okay? And certainly a lot of different real estate types aren't really doing great right now. I mean, the best thing you can own today is probably a storage shed.
This is yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well,
Or a
listen,
warehouse.
I wish I had some storage facilities because people tend to put stuff in there and forget about it. It only takes a few months to ramp up to like 80% or something like that. It's just ridiculous how
What,
those
didn't they make a show about that called, like,
storage
Storage
wars.
Wars?
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of it was kind of fake and stuff like that.
Oh,
But
it was fake?
it started off legit, and then like same thing with Pawn Stars. Then it just starts to deviate and kind of goes in a setup kind of a direction to keep the formula going and stuff like
Fair
that.
fair enough. Russ, we can't fake service in the industry, Glenn. Let's talk a little bit about service, okay?
Okay.
Let's talk a little bit about what owners and management companies are thinking about when they're looking at CapEx,
Mhm,
because technology is a big part of it today,
mhm.
okay? The industry has always been slow to adapt because one of the things that is unique about the industry is that it's gotta work.
Yep.
Everything's gotta work, okay? I'm gonna have 365 different users of this particular product that are gonna come into that room each year, okay? And it's gotta work. It's gotta be understandable to everybody, okay? And it's why in a technology phase, uh, trying to integrate the hotel more.
Mhm.
Okay. Integrate from a guest satisfaction standpoint, integrate from a guest interaction standpoint, and then also integrate from a guest ease of use standpoint.
Right.
Okay. And those are three very different and distinct things.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's your experience before you get there, your experience when you get there, and your experience of how you interact when you're at the property are all three different unique items.
Yeah, they sure are, and we've been continuing to work on and refine those, and hopefully find ways to get closer to the customer. Bruce, I want to get back to this pipeline, and we talked about the national pipeline, but what are we seeing right now in development in specific cities or regional areas?
Well, Dallas continues to be a leader, Glenn. And Dallas has been, for many years, continuing to grow its suburbia. And
Mhm.
when you add together Dallas and Fort Worth, it is by far the leading market in the country
Yep.
for new construction projects.
Yep.
And it was one of the cities when I first touched down in Dallas 30 years ago with my dad when we were doing business travel, and he would say, the industry is not overbuilt, it's under demolished.
Yep. They're still
Okay.
saying that.
And sometimes what we end up having happen is that
Yeah.
that older motel,
Mhm.
okay, that is 30, 35, 40 years old, it's on a 6-acre site. And that 6-acre site is still a very good site,
Yeah.
but it could be 2 hotels now and not just 1.
Right.
So, the capacity to redevelop that is as compelling almost as owning the asset itself. So there's some of that happening too, and we're seeing those sales transactions occur where the purchase is really about purchasing the site, and we will do it when the site becomes, or when the money becomes cheaper. So we're gonna buy it now, run it and operate it for a while, and then
Yeah.
make something else.
Yeah.
Okay. So conversions are a very, very big part of the story today in terms of purchasing an asset, redeveloping it, reimagining it, and rebranding it, okay, is also very much part of what's going on today. And we see more hotels available for sale than we've seen at any other time in the first half of 2025. It's are they transacting?
Oh, that's what that was gonna be my next, thing. I keep hearing that number of hotels number appears to me to keep going up, but that seems like there's a lot of buyers out there that are not willing to pay the ask, and maybe sellers that are being unrealistic with what they think they're going to get.
Well, there's a third party in that transaction too, Glenn, which is what's the brand going to be and how much is it going to cost to be that brand?
Correct. Mhm.
Whether that's an extension of the existing franchise agreement or that's a new franchise
Right.
agreement that they may be seeking.
Yeah. So I guess going back to this list, I noticed Las Vegas. My guess this does not contain the casino component because there's not enough rooms in there for the Hard Rock development that should be opening 27,
No,
27, right?
I don't think it's going to be 27, Glenn.
Think it won't be 26, will it?
No, they're saying like December of 27,
Oh,
which we know won't happen.
yeah, no,
Okay.
yeah, that's not gonna happen.
So,
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna be in a rush, okay? I think 2028 sounds right.
Okay. Well, if you're not gonna make New Year's, then there's no rush.
Right.
Yeah.
I think
Right.
2028 sounds more right to me,
Interesting.
okay? And, some of that is also in Las Vegas, we have a lot of projects that are announced, okay, where the timelines for development have been extended.
Right.
Okay, and I think the redevelopment at Encore, the new tower at the
Mhm.
Wynn, those types of things are very much in play, okay, but they're pushed out a year, pushed out
Yeah.
a second year.
And I will say there's still a lot of development around Las Vegas, and I mean new home communities, new shopping centers, new business
Absolutely.
drivers that are driving these numbers.
Significant portion of this is suburban
Yeah.
resort development. The M
Right.
Resort, good example.
Yeah,
And
M Resort is now building another tower, I believe,
yes,
over there, right? They're south past South Point, another 5, 10 miles down that a ways. they've done really well upgrading to low.
Glenn, have you ever sat at that pool and seen the view? Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
I have not. Believe it or not, I got a tour of that place many years ago before it was open, and saw where the pool was going to overlook the strip, which is in the
Oh my
distance.
gosh. It's a
Great
beautiful view.
Yeah, you could see the whole strip. You see the airport, and then all the buildings going, into the distance behind it. Really cool.
Yeah. That is I haven't been out there for an evening event as of yet to
Right.
stand out at that pool, but I imagine it's even more dramatic.
Right. Totally. All right. So, Bruce, again, looking at this list, Nashville isn't surprising me because the few times I've been there in the last year, I kept hearing about X amount of people arriving every day and moving to the city. So I was like, everyone's already got hotels here. Why do we need more? But the population and businesses are increasing so much that it's legitimate. What about what's going on in Atlanta?
Well, this is about commercial demand, okay? And this is about change in population. This is also about development of public service, okay? So in Nashville, you have convention center, you have new football stadium downtown,
Mhm.
in addition to kind of the remaking of the major urban area, Printers Alley, Broadway in Nashville, the remaking of all that. I mean, Post Malone just opened a restaurant there.
Wow.
It's called Posties, Glenn. You're gonna have to check it out.
All right. Next time we're in Atlanta, we will check that out.
Posties in Nashville.
Yeah. All right. So at least we found, at least we got some important information here on this.
Of course we did. But Atlanta also continues to develop its suburbia.
Mhm.
Okay. And the commercial demand in suburbia, people wanting to be closer to the office. Okay. I don't want to drive 20 miles to the office. Can we bring the office closer to me?
Right.
So we're seeing more suburban office space, and therefore you get more suburban hotels, you get more suburban retail, you get more suburban uh, commercial offerings, which is typically the driver in this time in the cycle. And keep in mind, Glenn, we only bounced off the bottom of the cycle about 2 years ago.
Right.
Okay. So
Yeah.
we are not really racing forward. We have a nice growth curve for 2 years. Now we kind of in a little bit of a low, okay, waiting for the next big upturn.
Mhm. Yep.
And it doesn't appear that that upturn is here this year, but I think financially and the capacity to get money should change at the end of this year and should change into the beginning of 2026, which I think will be a big catalyst for the industry. And if we do see that, I think even the anticipated openings that we have there in 2027 to the far right uh, could go up. Okay,
Yeah.
if we do have those changes in the financial markets that are, quote, "seem to be out there," okay, but until they happen, we can't be sure. But Glenn is traveling more than ever. Isn't that true?
I am traveling more than ever, except for this month, which I've thankfully been home all this month. But as you guys are watching this, I'm back on the road for 4 weeks in a row. So we're getting back to
Woo,
it, Bruce.
woo, woo. Delta,
Yep.
you got what's your preference, Glenn? Are you 2C or 4D?
4C usually is
4C?
my I
Very
I
good.
like. Yeah, it's easy to remember. I don't know, but that's only if I get upgraded. So,
So I'd like to make a couple of quote projections, Glenn.
uh-oh.
Okay, in many cases, that's what people are kind of looking for. What are the sky hooks
Yeah.
that we might see going forward?
All right.
I think from an owner management company perspective, they're really digging in. Okay, they're looking harder at their profit and loss statement. They're looking harder at their EBITDA. They're looking harder at where can we spend to save. Okay, and I think in many cases with the franchise companies, the CapEx requirements are pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Okay. And hopefully the management companies and the ownerships had planned for that. But I think they also have to make decisions about how to fund that because that's going to be the next big thing is conversions and renovations.
You got
So
that.
today we have about 130,000 rooms of conversions in the pipeline in the United States. and about 130,000 of rooms that are actively being renovated right now.
Nice.
So annually, we're still tracking at roughly 300 to 350,000 rooms that are renovated and converted every year in the United States, and that is above the long-term average.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
And as a result of many of those hotels being built between 2005 and 2009, it is anticipated that that will continue to pace at that level for the next 2 years,
Wow.
just based upon current situations and based upon the ages of these hotels and the franchise contracts that are gonna seek extensions. This is where we are today, and we're a conversion and renovation market. It's about more than new construction. When you look at a market today, you wanna be able to look at the full picture. What has sold, what is and has been renovated, what is and has been converted, and then what is proposed for new construction. And looking at that full picture, Lodging Econometrics can do that for you in any market anywhere in the world.
And in order to find Bruce, how do we do that?
You can catch us on LinkedIn, certainly on Facebook. We're also tracking many new projects across the world. We will be releasing more forecasts as we come forward here in the next several weeks. And tune back in to Glenn and Bruce for another description of the Europe, Middle East, and Africa, and also
Yeah.
Asia Pacific. As
Bruce,
we
when are we gonna see those reports and our broadcasts?
I'm thinking in kind of an every 2 weeks cadence, Glenn.
Yep.
So we'll put this one out, and then 2 weeks later we'll do another one, and 2 weeks later we'll do another one.
Awesome. All right, so make sure you do find Bruce Ford, and he just told you where it is, so go check that out. These numbers are great. Remember, I'm going to put the this report in the show notes on the page on No Vacancy News or in the audio show notes. So, Bruce, thank you so much for being here.
Glenn, it's always a pleasure, my friend. Happy summer.
Hey, happy summer and happy summer to you guys. Remember, download the shows wherever you get your podcast. I want to thank you so much for being here. Remember, you got one life, so blaze on, and we'll see ya next time right back here on No Vacancy. Thanks, guys.